just like he said he was going to do. I can always appreciate, you know why I like Trump? You know why I like Trump? Because he do what he say he going to do and he mean what he say. I always can appreciate when people are authentic. I don't ask you to be my friend. I'm not asking you to not get boxed. I'm not even asking you what goes on in your bedroom. What I am asking you to do is make sure you make a good business decision and you align with what you said you was going to do when you said that you was going to run for office. And too many times we've seen politicians promise us things that they said that they was going to do, but they don't do it. And as expected, and I expected, and I said this yesterday, when the Democrats lost the House, when Republicans won the House and the Senate and the presidency, and they swept it, and I was using Eric D's, I don't know if Eric D is here today, but I'm sure that he is. I was using Eric D's, participating in the chat because the chat is my co-host for the show. And I said, listen, no excuses. Now that we control all three branches, there is no excuse for us not to get things done in these next 2 to 4 years leading up to the midterms. That I want to see results. I want to see them. I don't want to see no empty promises. I don't want to see nothing from the Republican Party. That we're going to hold them accountable and we're going to be absolutely transparent with what goes on. And he started picking his chief of staff, his borders are, and all of this. And he's gotten very, very tough on everything. And as promised during the election, he said, listen, I am going to appoint Elon Musk, and I wasn't expecting Vivek, but this is a phenomenal pick. As he said, I'm going to appoint Elon Musk to head up this government efficiency task force in order to make sure that we audit every level of the federal government to ensure that our tax dollars is going to work for us and it's not being wasted. I love it. Before I even see the video, I love it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The likes is really low. I asked y'all to hit a like for the algorithm before y'all come into the show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And if you've been here more than once, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Okay, we're following more breaking Trump transition news at this hour. President-elect Trump tapping Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead a, quote, Department of Government Efficiency. He's also confirmed just moments ago what we would have been reporting, that he will name South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to be Secretary of Homeland Security. NBC's Vaughn Hillier joins us tonight now with the latest on all this. Vaughn, obviously the big news right now that just happened moments ago, Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy. What do we know about this new government agency, and how will it work?
Exactly. A lot has developed since the start of the show, Tom. For Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, this idea of the Department of Government Efficiency, number one, exactly how is it created? What does it actually look like? Is there a budget and a staff behind it? These details are very unclear. What I can tell you, though, is that Elon Musk, over the course of the last week, has been a consistent presence at Mar-a-Lago ever since Donald Trump's election. But even before Election Day, Elon Musk had been on the campaign trail on behalf of Donald Trump. And Elon Musk had talked about the fact that the U.S. annual federal budget is about $6 trillion. And he had been telling crowds that he would be able to cut $2 trillion out of the federal budget, which would be slashing it by 1/3 annually. And Donald Trump himself had echoed this on the campaign trail, saying that he would put Elon Musk in charge of government efficiency and bring him in his administration to do just that. And now, 1 week after his election, he is now promising to go forward with that campaign promise. And now when we're talking about $2 trillion out of the federal budget, we're talking about staggering numbers that Elon Musk, even himself, admitted would be causing hardships for Americans on the outset. But
Shannon B says Vivek being appointed is not going to be good. He is going to get rid of a lot of jobs, and these are jobs that a lot of black people do. Well, then that means you need to learn a new skill. The government is not supposed to be there to give you a job. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean? So that means, all right, so let's think about what you're saying right now, Shannon. You're saying that taxpayers should be paying a lot of black people to do things that they don't even need to do in order to make sure that they have a job just because we are part of the government. The way that you lower taxpayer costs is by reducing the amount of money that go into things that's not best for us. And so you have to have a dual level approach because you can't have one without the other, right? in order for us to create an environment that helps the United States of America thrive, we need to reduce the amount of money that people have to pay in order to sustain this nation, right? In addition to that, look. If you have a company, if you have a household where you got a whole bunch of people leeching off of you, and then everybody that's at the top or everybody that's doing things efficiently got to pay for everybody at the bottom just so that they can stay in there, do you do it, or do you start to make adjustments and say, hey, you need to be responsible for yourself, you need to be responsible for yourself? Let's be clear. It's a lot of stealing that's going on in the government. It's a lot of inefficiencies. It's a lot of things. If the government was ran like a business, we wouldn't be overly taxed. When you get your paycheck at the end of the week, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable when you get your paycheck at the end of the week and everything is gone, and after you leave, it's all messed up? If we going to pay down the national debt, if we going to invest more in the United States and its infrastructure, if we going to have to become more efficient. We cannot just have waste going out the door. Now, let me say this. This should not be a bipartisan issue. This should not be something that Democrats or Republicans argue over. We should have a lean government that does not impede into our lives overly or more than they need to. And we need to eliminate the majority of these inefficiencies that we have. And there's no better person to do it, or two people to do it, than the two businessmen, Vivek Ramaswamy, self-made, and Elon Musk, to go in and make sure that we're operating the way that we're supposed to operate. I 100% agree with what they're doing, and I think that the number one thing that we need to do in order to fix our finances is audit the government. They audit you, so we need to just let the bloat just stay in there. They audit you. Make enough money every year, they're gonna go through your finances with a fine-tooth comb. What you mean? You bought a pencil. So they can audit us, but we can't audit them. We finally got somebody to drain the swamp, literally, and we can start to hold our government officials. See, I'm not even as gung-ho about the efficiency of the government as I am about exposing all of this stuff that's going on behind the scenes that they stealing your money and it's not supposed to be. I want to know what's happening behind the scenes. And I think that also there needs to be governors and mayors that follow in Donald Trump's footsteps and audit their own minor local governments to make sure that we're operating efficiently.
That it would be financially beneficial for the country in the long term. Of course, we're talking about the federal budget. You're talking about defense spending, immigration spending. You're talking about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. There's no details that have been provided here at this time, but Donald Trump suggesting that the two men, Ramaswamy and Musk, will have until mid-2026 to figure this out and bring efficiency to the federal government. Again, very little details as to exactly what that means at this point in time.
You know, Vaughn, do you think, and I know you would be speculating here, but do you think Elon Musk and Vivek maybe are, I don't know if the word is disappointed, right? But they were such staunch supporters of President-elect Trump. And I know, Elon Musk spoke about this agency. This was a big thing for him. But for Vivek, I mean, weren't there other ideas and plans for him?
That was the question mark as to where Vivek Ramaswamy would potentially go. But though he was also in discussion as potentially an appointment to fill J.D. Vance's Ohio U.S. Senate seat. He's Ohio resident himself. And so I think for Vivek Ramaswamy to actually be tied to the world's richest man, Elon Musk, it's not necessarily a bad gig, depending on exactly where it goes and how long of a leash that they have. But again, so much of the budget is going to also rely on lawmakers and the Republican majorities on Capitol Hill to sign off on said budget. So this is going to be complicated, an intense few months, I think we should expect.
And I'm very excited. Let me give Trump a round of applause. This is what we call radical change that we like. We've seen radical change from the left, and we didn't like that because then they start telling us that boys need to go into girls' bathrooms and all of this other type of stuff. This is the radical change that we like because we want to hold our government leaders accountable, and we're tired of the same old. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see people continuing to say, we need to tax this, we need to tax that. Nah, we're not doing that no more. In addition to that, Trump also appointed Marco Rubio as a Secretary of State, which I think is another great idea. Check it out.
The latest on President-elect Trump announcing some key nominations for his cabinet, including Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Rachel Scott is tracking it all in West Palm Beach for us this morning. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Michael, good morning. Yes, we are starting to get a clearer picture about who will be responsible with carrying out Donald Trump's campaign promises. The president-elect moving quickly to fill out his cabinet and his administration, and we are learning this morning he's expected to name Florida Senator Marco Rubio to be the next Secretary of State. Overnight, President-elect Donald Trump moving fast to fill out his national security team. Sources telling ABC News Senator Marco Rubio will be nominated for Secretary of State.
Marco is a big winner, beautiful winner from Florida.
The Florida senator sits on the Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committees, pushing a hardline agenda on China, Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba. Once one of the president-elect's fiercest rivals, who Trump mocked as Little Marco, he repeatedly joined the former president on the campaign trail this year.
We are tired of living in a country that is no longer dreaming big, but that is going to change tomorrow, and you're going to help change it.
Sources also say Trump will name Congressman Mike Waltz as his national security advisor. The retired Green Beret served multiple combat tours, including in Afghanistan. A known hawk on China, he supported aid to Ukraine but urged Europe to step up more.
With a war going on in their doorstep, there are still over half the countries that haven't met their minimum, and he's going to push them hard, as he should.
Waltz is the second House lawmaker Trump is tapping, picking Elise Stefanik for UN ambassador. The former president also turning to a former House member, Lee Zeldin of New York, to lead the Environmental Protection Agency, already preparing to weaken protection against climate change.
Day one and the first 100 days, we have the opportunity to roll back regulations that are forcing businesses to be able to struggle.
But nothing says more about Trump's priorities than his second and third personnel picks, naming former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Chief Tom Homan as his border and deportation czar, and his former senior advisor Stephen Miller as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
Both played key roles in Trump's hardline immigration policies last time, including family separation. Both now set to fulfill his campaign promise of the largest mass deportation in U.S. history.
I want everybody to be clear. It's going to be a targeted enforcement operation concentrating on criminals and national security threats first.
President-elect Donald Trump will travel to Washington tomorrow to meet with President Biden at the White House, an invitation that Trump himself did not extend to President Biden just 4 years ago. And sources tell us that incoming First Lady Melania Trump will not be traveling with the president-elect on this trip, so there will be no.
Yeah, they also said that Jill Biden had extended a thing where, they was saying that, hey, come on over to the White House. And she said, no, I don't have dinner with the ops. Melania said, we don't have dinner with the ops. When Obama, it's funny because I was reading about Melania and all of that stuff, and I started to do a little quick hits on it, but I was like, nah, it's not worth having a conversation about. When Trump first got into office in 2016, they said that Obama and Michelle Obama had such a bad attitude that they didn't even invite them to even be able to come to the White House until the very last minute. That they didn't invite them or advocate for them to come to the White House as traditionally is done until the very last day. They said that they treated her like she was crap, that they treated Trump like he was crap, and they had a nasty negative attitude about the fact that Trump had won and become president of the United States of America instead of Hillary Clinton. So this time, and they said that Biden and Jill Biden had gave them the cold shoulder and all of that stuff. So this time, when they invited her to the White House, she said, I don't need no tours. I already know what the White House looked like. We'll be back in there in a little bit. Me, Barron, Trump, Vivek, Elon, Byron, Tom, Tulsi, we all coming back to the White House. And we coming back with size 17 shoes, and we going to kick that dough in. Let me give another round of applause for Trump for running it up and making the right decision and appointing Elon and Vivek to lead the government, the Department of Government Efficiency. And I seen Yakar and several other people inside of the chat says that it's an acronym and that it actually spells DOGE, such as Dogecoin, Department of Government Efficiency. That was an Elon Musk play. Yeah, I had caught that. I seen that when I first seen this story come out.